of October 2001, and we are apparently out here in the south of France in the Pyrenees, right on the border of Spain, and in a few minutes from now we will do a little interview with Mira right here on the land which they call Las Peñas or Campagal. What is Satsang?
Just to be resting in your original nature is Satsang. So wherever you are, you can say you are in Satsang. Satsang is a Sanskrit word. Sat is reality, who you are really, and Sang, company. So to be in the company of your own self. As you already are. Next.
When you, Mira, close your eyes in Satsang, are you meditating?
Hopefully not. Otherwise I would arise a meditator who does something. Let it be meditation. It's just to rest in one's own nature, and there is no beginning for it and no end. So if you have open eyes, if you are walking, doing any activity of life, including sitting quiet with closed eyes, in fact all is the same. You don't put an inch of separation between who you are and what's going on.
You say questions have to come to an end, yet encourage people who attend Satsang to expose whatever question of doubt may arise. Why?
I encourage in the sense that one has not to believe that if he keeps so-called quiet, hiding or suppressing or keeping aside a doubt or a question or something to be cleared. So I don't believe that this so-called quietness is real quietness. So whatever is there, let it be anything, has to come out. Means there is a seed of confusion in any question. So as one hears, to be oneself is to be emptied from anything whatsoever. So in that respect, yes, let's have an end to the questioning. But if there is any, please ask.
What do you mean by self-realization?
To abide naturally in what is already. Just to be. Even this expression drops once you really are self-realized. It is still mentioned when there is a teeny shade of this search for oneself. Thank you.
When you give an answer to one individual, will it necessarily benefit anyone else?
Yes and no. Yes and no. Sometimes it's just addressed to somebody, means to a particular personal question put, and the answer is according to the question. Now sometimes the answer trespass goes beyond, and then anybody can be touched.
When you say one must have fire, what do you mean?
The urgent thirst to finally be oneself, to feel like you are in a burning hell and you do whatever you can to run away, to be out of it. That's possible only when one tried so many things to be freed from suffering. One broke his head and heart and gets so exhausted, you see, not to find any permanent answers or relief. Then exang, how do you say, being without blood, he comes to Satsang for help. Then it may work.
Mira, is there a relationship between master and disciple? And if so, what is its nature?
In reality, there is no relation between master and disciple because there is no two. Now, if this word master and disciple are both arise, it means there is still a feeling of two-ness. A seeker who comes and asks for help to a guide, and that guide, if he trusts him totally, he may call him the master. Means the finger which will indicate the moon. The moon means the reality. So, if somebody takes himself as a seeker still, because he feels he's still in confusion, we can say that there is a kind of relation. Probably in the beginning it will be an outward relation, like if the master was outside, and then with the endless push and pull of the indications of the guide, the seeker will find his master inside. Eventually, all these inside and outside disappear. And that's called self-realization. Wherever there is a relation, there is mind. And the master indicates that anyone is prior to mind in reality.
Is there a need for a seeker to remain with one teacher?
Depends on the seeker. If he came with such a openness that everything can disappear like this, he sees himself. If it is not the case, it's very, very important to keep one support in whom you can have total trust. And here the support is the master, is the guide for reality, because that support will make vanish all other interests, all other links. A master is a eater of the past. Once this apparent processus is ended, one is totally free. If you see the Buddha when you are a Buddha yourself, just pass by. And at the same time you can hug him.
Why is there so much suffering? Does liberation mean the end of this suffering?
Suffering is possible only when the mind interferes and suggests that all events are real. And freedom means freedom from the illusion that there is such a thing as real suffering. Next.
What to do when one experiences disease, grief, depression, and so on? How to help somebody who suffers or is close to death?
Keep quiet. Keep deeply quiet and naturally be compassionate.
Can you speak about death?
Death is a belief. One believes he's born, so he has to believe he dies. So the question is, are you born at any time? It's a concept which is born. It is a feeling which is born and dies. It is an experience which is born and dies. It is somebody which is born and dies. Are you anybody? That's the question.
What is reincarnation and what is reincarnating?
All the same bullshit. All the same bloody garbage that is bought by teachings and spirituality. Let's be freed from all that.
What do you mean by illusion?
This question itself is an illusion. Otherwise, illusion can be defined whatever appears and disappears has no substance in itself, has temporary existence, it has no beingness in itself.
Why do I take my belief for real?
Because you believe in your mind. You believe that you agreed that the mind is your master. Instead of taking this mind as a tool, as a rising creation, you take it as an absolute reality. That's the mistake. So I really say, don't keep any belief, whatever your mind suggests. Thank you.
What do teachers mean when they say, abandon everything for the sake of truth?
Abandon your concept. Abandon the identification that you are an actor or a doer or someone who is born. Don't touch anything. Don't abandon in the sense, don't leave family duties necessarily to go in a cave. You will meditate on your family you left. You see? Abandon, the real abandonment is to be with a total empty heart, and you can give milk to your child, you can fulfill your duty being empty. And the contrary, you can go and meditate in the caves, in a so-called solitary place, and be crowded. So don't leave the circumstances where you are placed necessarily. Just leave the ownership.
Mira, is there anything like good and bad, right and wrong, and morality and ethics? Do they have any meaning on this path?
Ethics, morality, good and bad are the dualistic way and viewpoints of the mind. It is the normal way for the world to go on. Now one as not necessarily as to throw away all this natural way to behave in the world, but one has to find out who am I in reality, and not to confuse ethics for what's real, for who he is. So, to reply in a radical way, here, in what is, there is no such a thing as ethics and morality. So be yourself and trust that your behavior will be a natural response to what happens.
I have a personal question also.
Okay.
So, the last time I asked a question, your response, as far as I could see, all questions, but I see some grain of sand, and I see it creates separation. And it is like some effort to look if it's all right.
There is no separation. There is no grain of sand. And the feeling which you have, why do you own it?
This is my question, why do I own it?
Because you like it. The grain of sand looks golden to you. You are, somehow it has still some value. If it is not intellectually, it may be emotionally. It's just a grain of sand coming from the past. It's just a trace of the past. So, know this and don't care. Don't care.
Thank you.
Does liberation mean the end of negativity, feelings or emotions like anger, jealousy, sadness, etc.? Does it mean one is permanently in a thought-free state and forever immersed in bliss?
Whoa. That's a big question.
Well, as I said, behavior may go on apparently the same. You may feel anger, you may feel feelings that circumstances brings you, and yet the difference, if there is, nothing leaves a trace. Impressions, reactions, actions, they are done in the present, on the spot. They will not create a story and hundreds to levels stories, I would say, on it, because no background is left. So in this way we cannot recognize a self-realized one, because behavior is the same. What is behavior? It belongs to the body and the mind, and that's universal way to be. Unless one was a saint before he realized himself, then he will continue to be a saint. If one was a hunter, he will continue to be a hunter. Sometimes behavior changes if he has really seen, for example, in the case of the hunter, that, oh, this animal is myself, I don't feel like. But you see,
Is there any difference between a saint and a liberated being?
but yes, I believe so. I've seen a few saints. Their behavior is good. They are absolutely altruist, not egoistic people, quite cheerful, loving to others. It's more about their tendency to care for the others than themselves. This is what we call a saint in general. A realized person is not even covered by this blanket of sainthood. Is totally naked.
Is there a need for the seeker to attend satsang over a period of time?
Absolutely. And this is not to keep disciples or friends or students. Don't feel trapped by this radical answer, but absolutely necessary. Also know that wherever you are is satsang, but wherever you become is delusion. So be in satsang.
If I am already what I seek, what is the use of satsang?
I wonder. Satsang anyways in the waking state, so it's an illusion too. The use of satsang, again I say, is for the seeker who searches himself, but for some reason he believes his mind, which suggests, oh, you are lost, you are not knowing yourself, or you are not worthy for it. So in satsang you hear, don't listen any suggestion of the mind. Be yourself majestically and make this mind a friend, not a master of your life.
What is the role of any practice, like prayer, devotional singing or meditation? Is it useful to watch the thought and the emotion arising in oneself?
What's the use? I have to reply on no level and on one level. No level means in reality there is absolutely no use of prayer, because who will address the prayer to whom? Now, because of an extreme, authentic and loving prayer or demand to be freed, that one will surely be fulfilled on the spot, because the self in himself will be so melted that the seeker wants to merge in reality.
So it's not useful to watch the thought.
And to watch the thought, then it makes a witness of the thought. So it makes the mind more subtle in a way, but it is a subtle trap. Better not to divide oneself in more subtleties. Better to go to the root cause, which is what's the nature of mind, or to whom this mind belongs to.
So there is such a different separation of the observer and the observation.
When one believes is an observer, there is a separation in the vision, in the experience. There will always be an experiencer and an object of experience. So that's the trouble. And if one of the two is put into question regarding its reality, let it be the object or let it be the subject, both simultaneously disappear, because one is linked to the other. The object is linked to the subject is linked to the object. It goes together. That is the way of creation to appear. So the emphasis is on your real nature, which is absolutely not dualistic.
This is the beauty of the mind, but what is mind?
Mind is said as mind, as a separate movement when one is still in trouble with the movement. If one realizes that even the creation is part of himself, he will not even call mind.
Thank you.
Can a non-realized individual help anybody, and in which way?
You can help your neighbor. If he feels hungry, bring bread. If he feels desperate, you can always give support. More than that, no individual can help to remove the root cause of suffering. The real root cause of suffering is to be identified with the I, with somebody, and that alone, the one who doesn't identify himself by his own fact of beingness, can make melt this so-called identity in the other. But no teacher who is not freed himself can melt the identity in the other.
Are spiritual experiences useful to realize oneself?
You know my answer, so I will not tell. No. Yet. Glimpses, what we call glimpse, means a taste of a different kind of what you have known so far. A glimpse of oneself, which comes and goes, that's why you call it a glimpse, and which is also an illusion, that's why we call it a glimpse. Yet it develops the love to really finish off with the illusion which sticks. But don't search for it, and don't be deluded by it. Thank you.
Mira, many people report having had a glimpse of their own true nature. Then the mind seems to come back with a vengeance. Can you comment on this "I've had it, I've lost it" syndrome?
You see a glimpse, I can give an analogy. You are on the bank of a river, and then suddenly, out of grace or blessed instant, you know that you have to jump into the river to be refreshed, to be yourself. So you do it. And because you believe there was a bank, you come back to the bank after a dip. You are totally wet. You come back to pick up your belongings and go home. So that's a bit an analogy with a glimpse. Means you feel lost, that's the bank. You believe you are lost. But out of grace, you take the risk to drop everything, you plunge into the river. And then, for a while, since you had the belief that the mind is real, that you were lost, you go back to your previous concept. So for a while you are wet, you are full of grace, you can speak about, you have the taste of it. But slowly you get dry because your confusion takes over. So, as I said, the deep may develop the taste to be real, but it's not yet that, you see, because who you are, when one realizes it, it's when he realizes that never there was a bank, nor a river. There was no dip to do, there was no dropping. He is just like he is since ever and forever.
Is there any transmission between master and disciple?
It's very, very, very mysterious to speak about that. But certainly not a transmission like, for example, a teacher transmits his knowledge, and there is a good student and they know it more or less as the teacher knows it. Not like that. Not like that. It's too mysterious for me to know more. Who one is cannot be given, cannot be transmitted. Maybe the simple fact to be is enough to, I would say, contagious. Maybe it's a contagion. But who knows?
What is your lineage?
Oh, I'm freed from lineage. With all my gratitude, ever gratitude to my master, he made me free from lineage.
What do you mean by the I, by mind?
It's a hallucination.
Is it the enemy?
It's an hallucination. It's not an enemy. It's not a friend. It's nothing. Total hallucination. So one has just to get deshypnotized, and one is hypnotized by everything. So it's better to go to the mother of hypnotism, or the father of hypnotism. Which is this sense of I. I am so and so, I am born, and that's very rarely said I will die. It's an hallucination. That's all I can say.
That's one long question. Can you comment on the why does all search have to end?
To be yourself, not to suffer unnecessarily. Why to suffer? It's not needed.
When you use the word arrogance, what exactly do you mean?
The sense of I, this is arrogance. Primal arrogance. I control my life, I attain this and this, I am free, I am lost. This is arrogance. I am unworthy. This is arrogance. I am proud. This is arrogance. I am humble. I am a saint. I am a sinner. All this is arrogance.
What does surrender mean? Is it the same as total trust?
Yes. Total trust to yourself, to what's real. So surrender is not to make this natural nothingness a somethingness. That's all.
Is discrimination helpful along the way, and to what extent?
Very helpful. There is too many satsang gathering, where this is not stressed, you see. You have to get a very sharp discrimination between what's real, what's unreal. It is absolutely necessary to be clear in understanding. And that's for a seeker. Now, if one can open his heart without discrimination, so I refer to the mind. In the mind, be very discriminative. Now, if one can open his heart totally, you don't need any tool. Just be yourself. You see, in fact, I observe the one who is intellectual minded he can realize at once like this, or he has to use absolutely sharp discrimination, and then his heart will melt, devotion will melt. If one is has emotional tendency, he will have full devotion, or he can also realize like this, or he goes into that full devotion which will bring you in a clear understanding. So, if you understand something about this, God bless. But Shankara, one of those great teachers of Advaita philosophy, he really stressed indiscrimination. But you have still to believe that there is a kind of time and processes for that. That's why I stress, if you can hear directly, just be yourself. Then let's forget about every part.
This question is a bit too long. I want to ask one other question. I want to ask, who is realizing the self? If the mind is illusory, who is this one who realizes the self? Who is the real who realizes the real?
Nobody realizes anything. That's what I say. If there is somebody who realizes, it will be somebody having the experience of freedom or enlightenment. But then he will see. Arrogance will arise. Arrogance to be somebody who is free. There is nobody who realizes anything. When this is totally quiet, you see, when there is no question anymore about this, the other may say, oh, this is self-realization. The one who is quiet will be quiet about this matter.
Is liberation due to any event?
No, no. A glimpse is due to an event by mistake. One takes it due to an event, and that's why it's a glimpse, and that's why one loses it. Realization doesn't depend on any event. It is acausal, causeless. It's the nature of all things. One may say it happened on Thursday at 9 a.m. 8 minutes. Yes, one can say so. But if really if really is freed, he will tell it for the sake of speaking, because never he will take the event for it. Never he will make this mistake again. That's the beauty.
Is self-realization once for all?
Once for all. Because it's never once. Yes.
Is self-realization a process? Are there any steps to take?
It's not any result of any process. It's not an achievement. It is to realize what is, what one already is prior to time, processes, practices, prior to the rising of I.
In your own experience, would you say there is a deepening even after liberation?
The mind will speak of deepening, because the mind has a dualistic way to see things. All things are once for all fixed forever, or they deepen. So I would say it's none of the two, though it looks like there is a tremendous infinite deepening. But it's none of the two. It's total mystery, lived each moment with no comparison.
Is there a present which is not linked to the chain of time, past, present and future?
Yes, that present is an indication. It's because of lack of vocabulary that one may speak of present. One may speak of presence. Present in the presence. So what is, who you are really and already, doesn't fall in the grip of time and space, and is present, is actualized, is. And if I add each instant, I speak the language of the mind of the time, but I have no other words.
So I do another one. What do you mean when you say not to land anywhere?
Oh, that is my master's genius sentence that I borrow him. Yes. Don't take root in any object, don't take root in any subject. Who are you? And don't remain in a permanent flight, rather.
The next question. Who gives satsang?
Nobody. Nobody. There is no satsang in reality.
Does satsang mean anything to the self-realized being?
You see, in the waking state, satsang is beautiful, stolen time to plunge into what nothing can touch, including time and space.
Is quietness the final state? What do you mean when you say, keep quiet?
Who knows? Who knows? Thank you very much. I enjoyed this interview.